Not to raise expectations too much, but could the end finally be near for Moira Dingle in Emmerdale? She has been in prison for several weeks, facing charges of modern slavery and murder. The murder accusations have now been dropped, but the modern slavery charges remain. These charges came about after evidence was planted to frame her. Although she is innocent, the situation has become so overwhelming that Moira considers pleading guilty just to bring the ordeal to an end, serve her sentence, and return to her sons as soon as possible. However, this would be disastrous, as it would mean a longer prison sentence based on a lie. Robert is struggling with guilt, knowing he is the reason Moira ended up behind bars. Determined to put things right without exposing himself, he visits Bear in prison and urges him to come forward with evidence that could clear her name. Robert's actor explained that this is his character's last chance, a desperate race against time. He believes Robert may need to confess to everything he has done, including planting the evidence, even if it means going to prison himself, to prevent Moira from suffering a long sentence away from her family. At the same time, Aaron is also searching for proof, seeing how much the situation is affecting his close friend Mac. When Paddy learns that Robert confronted Bear, he becomes angry, but the situation is interrupted when Sam reveals that Kyle has gone missing. The whole village joins the search, and Robert is the one who eventually finds him. During their conversation, Kyle reveals he overheard that his mother plans to plead guilty, and he struggles to cope with the idea of losing her. This deeply affects Robert and pushes him to make a major decision, to tell the truth. He feels he may have to go to prison to stop Moira from facing a harsher fate. However, Moira has already decided to plead guilty, creating a tense race against time. Kane attempts to persuade her otherwise, but fails. Then Bear provides a crucial breakthrough, revealing that he hid a number plate linked to Ray Walters inside a storage unit. Aaron and Robert rush to the storage facility, but they are overwhelmed by the number of containers. Just as they start to lose hope, a memory of a key found earlier provides them with a breakthrough. The question now is whether they have finally uncovered the evidence they need, and if they can return in time to stop Moira before she appears in court. Emmerdale actor Ryan Hawley has shared his excitement, saying it feels as though the ITV soap is laying the groundwork for the Sugden family's future. Ryan returned to the show last year after a 6-year break, reprising his role as Robert Sugden. The character had been in prison for the death of Lee Posner, but was released following an appeal. His return coincided with a dramatic moment when he witnessed his former partner, Aaron Dingle, marrying his half-brother, John Sugden. Robert became determined to expose John, convinced he was not who he claimed to be, although the rest of the village initially sided with him. As often happens in soap stories, the truth eventually came out. John was revealed to have a dangerous hero complex, deliberately putting people at risk so he could appear to save them. This behavior led to a tragic outcome when Kane's son, Nate Robinson, died after reacting badly to a substance John had given him. John fled the village after being exposed, but later returned during a major crossover event. Victoria Sugden later killed John in self-defense, and Robert was then blackmailed by Joe Tate, who had footage of the incident. To escape the turmoil, Victoria and her son Harry chose to leave the village temporarily and stay in Portugal with Diane Sugden. At present, Robert is the only Sugden remaining in the village. Although Sarah Sugden is also present, she is more closely connected to her Dingle side. Fans have been hoping that Robert and Aaron will reunite with Seb to help rebuild the Sugden family legacy. In an interview with the Manchester Evening News, Ryan said it feels like the show is creating a strong base for the Sugden family, and hinted that more members could return in the future, helping to build a long-term family unit. He added that while he is not sure what the future holds, it feels like different groups are forming within the show, which he finds exciting. He also shared that being part of such a long-standing legacy family is a privilege, and he feels fortunate to be involved in this new chapter. Emmerdale's Beowulf is set to face even more turmoil next week, as new findings discovered in a storage unit linked to Ray Walters and Celia Daniels lead DS Walsh to suspect he was involved as their accomplice. The incriminating evidence suggests that Ray was transferring money into an account under Bear's name, implying that he may have benefited financially from the illegal operation. Bear is left stunned when DS Walsh presents the so-called evidence and puts forward her belief that he and Ray were working together. According to an Emmerdale insider, although Ray and Celia are no longer alive, their actions continue to have a devastating effect on Bear's life. Anyone who witnessed what Bear went through at their farm knows how much suffering he endured. However, DS Walsh is determined to prove that he was not a victim, but instead an active participant in their crimes. Adding to Bear's troubles is the fact that his own previous statements may now be used against him. During his interviews about Ray, he admitted that his captor had promised he would be taken care of, which is now being used to build the case against him. What investigators fail to realize is that Ray used emotional manipulation to control Bear, making it extremely difficult for him to escape. An insider explains that there may have been a psychological bond between them, with Ray sometimes showing kindness that kept Bear emotionally attached. That connection, once meaningful to Bear, could now be what leads to his downfall. For Paddy Dingle and Bear's loved ones, it is hard to believe that anyone could see him as a criminal mastermind. However, efforts by Paddy and Dylan Penders to cover up Ray's death have unintentionally damaged Bear's reputation, making him appear capable of serious wrongdoing. As a result, suspicion has now fallen heavily on Bear, with some believing he may have killed Ray to take control of the operation and its money. After everything that has happened, Paddy struggles to accept that his father could end up blamed for the crimes committed by Ray and Celia. With DS Walsh convinced of his guilt, the question remains, can Bear prove he is innocent before it is too late? Emmerdale has released a spoiler video hinting at a deadly outcome for Kane Dingle, with 3 possible suspects at the centre of the mystery. Kane has already faced a difficult and chaotic start to 2026, but his troubles are set to worsen in upcoming episodes when he is hit by a car in a shocking incident. A tense new clip points to 3 individuals who could be responsible. Each of them has their own distractions and pressures while driving, raising concerns that one of them may not be fully focused at the moment of the accident. The big question remains, who will be the one to send Kane to hospital? Emmerdale is broadcast on weekdays at 8 p.m. on ITV1 and is also available to stream on ITVX.